Aloha everyone, it's Titi, and on this month's episode of At the Heart of It, we chat with two creative powerhouses who work behind the lens at Roxy, cinematographer Roxy Facer and photographer Serena Lutton. In this episode, we talk about juggling life, creative adventures, and breaking barriers and stereotypes in the surf industry. And they give really inspiring advice to the next generation of creatives. I personally have had the honor of working with these two amazing, talented, creative women, and some of my favorite Roxy images have come from both of them. I had so much fun getting to know more and more about these epic women during this episode, and I bet you will too. Enjoy! All right, everyone, welcome back to At the Heart of It. Today we have the amazing Serena and Roxy. You guys are two of my favorite photographers and videographers that I've ever worked with, and I had the honor of working with. I'm so stoked to have you guys on here because you guys are so really the heart of everything, because without you guys, you guys make us feel so comfortable and have all these beautiful images, and these are the women behind the lens, behind the scenes that show us and showcase such the most iconic images from what I have always experienced with Roxy, the core heart of it. And it really wouldn't be without these two women right here. So tell us about yourselves. Let's start with Roxy.
I'm Roxy. I always joke that that's the only reason I got hired by Roxy.
It's always so
everyone's like, wait.
It's the hardest. They're like, oh, Roxy's on the phone. Like, wait, what? Roxy? We're shooting with Roxy, on Roxy, for Roxy, with Roxy.
Yes. As confusing as possible for everyone watching. But yeah, I shoot video. I don't really shoot photos. And I started working with Roxy back. I was trying to think about my first job. I think it was for Herewith in collaboration with Roxy.
Yeah, that was with me,
2017, I think. I'm like, how did I even start working for Roxy? I don't really know.
That was 2017, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe you referred me and my old partner or something. I don't know how.
I actually hired you for this job.
Yes. Okay. So.
Yeah, because I was running the magazine. I know. Yes. It was so long ago. And it's full circle, yeah.
Full circle. And yeah, I've been doing video since 2016. So I would only been shooting video for 3 seconds when you guys were like, come on, shoot for Roxy. And it was really cool.
No. You had Ruby as Collective at the time.
Ruby as Collective with my old partner, Bree. Yeah, it's a different life, it feels like. I guess that's not really describing me. That's not.
No, I love that though. Look at you now. I was surfing for 3 seconds before I was like, oh, come to this Roxy shoot. That's so crazy. It's literally the same thing.
The brand.
Fake it till you make it.
That's my motto. That's my life's motto, is to fake it.
But you live in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. So I live in Hawaii. I moved out here in 2011, and I got into video because I essentially had a lot of girlfriends that were models, and I would go on shoots with them, or I would PA, and I always noticed that for the video portion, all motion was always shot by a ton of dudes. And I remember thinking, and they're not just random dudes, they would be older, not even remotely close to the demographic that they were creating content for. Right. I was like, if they can do it, I can do it better. Whether I don't know as much as them, there's no way that I can't do it better than them, or I could do it worse than them. So I just thought there's a hole in the market, and I love capturing my friends and capturing this lifestyle because it's authentically my lifestyle as well. And I just started shooting friends and doing random tests with model agencies with their new signs, and I just kind of snowballed and it all worked out. And now I shoot a lot of girls, doing a lot of cool things.
You can tell, and from personal experience too, how much more comfortable you're going to pull from a photographer who you feel comfortable with and is a female and is your friend, in comparison to an older male that you don't know. Mm-hmm. The images are going to be so strikingly different.
Right.
And what you pull and what you have always pulled when I've ever shot with you is really just such authenticity to who the girls are.
Oh, that's
because you've always made us feel so comfortable, and you always are so fun to shoot with. And it's just you don't have to pretend to be something that you're not, or try to be super sexy or super just anything that you don't feel like you are supposed to be because this person expects you to be. You've always just been like, be yourself. And I am myself because I know you and I trust you, and that's such a big thing.
You're so kind. But that's really like, that was the whole goal. I just felt like women weren't being shot the way that I feel that we should have been represented. And it was just such a conventional form of beauty and like such a male gaze form of beauty. And so when you shoot from a female gaze, and when you are a woman, and then you're like, it's not only that I'm shooting it differently, but like the girls feel differently. Like what they're giving is different. Yes. So there's like better energy on both ends to be able to capture things more authentically for women. At least in like, everything is different. Like if I was shooting in this like bikinis and clothes and stuff, it could definitely swing very male gaze in this kind of industry. So I wanted to kind of bring it back to the center more towards the girl.
And you do such a good job with it. And so you do such a good job at that.
Thank you.
All right, Serena, tell us about yourself.
Well, as you can probably tell with my accent, I'm just going to start by saying I'm French. I actually grew up pretty far away from the ocean, but I had limited time with the ocean. So I was always like pretty frustrated. Or like I kind of like needed the ocean, but I was always far away from it. So I kind of like promised myself that I would do something around the ocean. So growing up, I kind of like was around like the surf industry, but like, you know, I was just like watching, and I got really passionate about like the communication about it, like graphic design and things like that. So I ended up doing an internship in like a men's surf magazine in France. And it kind of, I would think I was 15, and it kind of like changed my life, to be honest. And at the time I knew women were not part of it, but it was not really an issue for me. I was just there. I was just like interning and stuff. And I just pursued my career in like graphic design, and I got hired by a women's surf magazine like further on, like that was here with actually that made me move to America. So I was like creative director for this women's surf magazine, and from there I ended up just being a little more in touch with like photography and storytelling. So that really like changed, like really like I was just really in contact with like so many like amazing like people and I was able to like really tell their story, that I was like, I just want to do that forever. So when the project kind of like stopped, I just started my own like creative agency. So I'm now based still in California, and I have a creative agency which we work for Roxy and other like brands, and we also like tell like amazing story, mostly about women. And I also have like Warm Collective where I mentor other creatives, and I kind of like teach them how to do my job, and I kind of like give them the tool that I wish I had when I was younger to just like be more in industry and just like work in industry. So yeah,
I love that. So like paying it forward and giving girls like you a platform.
You know, I mean, no one could have expected my life to be what it is now. So I do think that giving back and like also like helping other creatives that, you know, they also don't come from next to the ocean or something. Like I think everything is possible, and just being able to inspire other creatives, like younger or not younger. I don't think there is any like age to start, you know, changing your life or like changing your career. But that's really fulfilling me. So that's something I'm really working on right now.
Well, that's exciting. And I just recently got to shoot with you, which I'm so excited because those are probably one of my favorite images that I've ever gotten to shot with Roxy. And something I'm so passionate about too is we did a hula. We did a collaboration of hula and the surfing campaign that's coming out soon. And I got to shoot with Serena during sunset. So it's like these really beautiful images of this, you know, of North Shore and dancing hula, and it's these beautiful silhouettes. I'm so excited for those to come out. They're literally like my most favorite images that I've ever gotten to shoot.
Such an amazing moment, even for me, like culturally, like, I mean, being French is not something I've been exposed to, you know. The sunset, the moment, everything was so timeless. I feel like we were like in this little bubble, and like it's just like the time stopped and you were just dancing on the beach at sunset, and it was I don't know, it was just like so magical. So I actually cannot wait to share that too, because it was really
I'm
special.
so excited to see them, because I've always a lot of my favorite images that from Roxy that I've always have seen were always yours. I was like, who shot that? Oh, Serena did. Who shot this? Serena shot it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Appreciate
good.
it.
So talented.
We shoot so much. Like there's so many campaigns. I mean, I was in Mexico with you, Roxy, right? Because that was the Mexico trip. There's so much content. I even forget, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're shooting also commercial, but out of it, we're able to like tell a story. And I think that's something that Roxy is actually also like amazing at. It's like you're here to shoot like product, and you're here to shoot a campaign, and you have like restriction, but also like I do think like Roxy is amazing at that, like just telling a story out of it, even if you have like 40 looks to shoot in one day, you know. And it's just like it's pretty magical to see what comes out of those like campaigns, because it's I don't know,
it is the best. I love it. See, I feel that way with the photos, because I just feel like we're in a different brain. So it's like my favorite thing in the world to do a shoot, be so immersed in it. It's almost like tunnel vision. Like you don't even see, like I can't even see what you're doing or like what's going on. I'm just like so focused. And then in post-production, I'm editing, and I kind of like forget that there's this whole other portion of it. And then the campaign's released and I get to see the stills, and it's such a treat. It's always, I'm like, oh my God, like this angle that she got, or this way that she shot this, or what she captured that I didn't even notice. I don't know. I love it. I love it all.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you some questions that they have already like prepared that I can't memorize, and I tried to memorize them, but it's like, why? Like, why am I making this harder for myself?
No.
I'm just gonna write it down. I'm the host.
Yeah,
right. This is my show. We're gonna do it like this. Okay, let's see. So, what initially drew you into surf, videography, and photography, and what keeps you passionate about it?
I think for me, there's two things. There is just like the feeling of like being in the ocean. Like that's one of the main reasons, you know, it's like so inspiring. You just feel, I mean, you know, just like even surfing, it's just like just being there. You have the first seat at the show, you know, like when you do jobs like us, like it's pretty amazing. And I think the second thing would be like, there's so many stories to be told, and so many inspiring people that we kind of like we come across. I'm like, it's infinite. Like you have so many stories that can be told. There's so many ways that you can highlight those people. And so, yeah, I think that's what really inspires me and keeps me going.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Roxy?
I second everything Serena said. The ocean originally drew me in, and I surfed. And so obviously it's just like something that I was comfortable around and comfortable shooting and like had access to. And then I have continued to stay. I've had a lot of chance to kind of go in different directions with my career, and I've found that every time I go into more like studio or commercial or whatever it is, I always find the structure of it kills my creativity. Like I love getting sent out to remote locations and like not having a real plan and set like in stone, and having to figure things out and chase walls and just being at the mercy of Mother Nature. And I just love it. Like I love like run and gun shoots. I love like just getting out there in places that people don't normally go, and just like being exposed to all the elements. I love it. Like I think it's so thrilling and fun, and it never changes, where every time I have to go shoot like in a studio or something, I just like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like
I'm sure that's such a crazy difference.
But I love being out in nature and being able to capture stuff that I don't know what I'm going to capture until it happens.
I mean, I feel like, you know, you guys are out there and you guys are capturing all these images, but like what's really, really more impressive, like, is watching you guys. There needs to be a camera on you guys getting these images, because like I'm out there on a 9-foot board, like floating, waiting for waves. So you're out there treading water. Like, I don't think people really understand. It's like they see this beautiful image, but what did it take to like actually get this image? You got these two girls with fins on, treading water, dodging surfers, dodging me especially, because I've multiple times have like tried to have like almost killed Yosh, just running into him every time. But, you know, you guys are treading water for hours. Forever how long we're out there, like, and sometimes it's like the most pressure, because I feel like, oh my God, like I know Sonette is out there, I know Roxy's out there just waiting for me to catch something, to do something impressive worthy of a photo. It's like, it's so much pressure. And I remember this one day where we shot in North Shore, and I surfed with Achilles. And North Shore always, like, obviously it's like, it's so intimidating, and the wave is just, it's stronger, and it's not like it's not where I'm the most comfortable surfing. But we went out there and I was struggling like so hard. I could not catch one. I couldn't get up on one. It was so wonky. Of course, it's just me. Like, Khalees is out there just shredding. But she like made me feel better. She was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's really windy today or whatever."
It was. I remember this day that you're talking about. Tons. It was like a big messy short day.
It was a disaster, and I didn't catch one wave until I was like, you know what, Khalees, like I don't think I'm gonna catch any. Like, I'm just gonna go in. Caught one in. Couldn't get up, popped up on my knees, and I was like, and I looked for Roxy, and I was like, "This is it, Roxy." And you're like, "Watch this be the one that they use." And it was, it was the one shot that you gotta be serving, and it was the only one that made the campaign.
I love it. Like, that's real though.
I know, it made me feel like that's exactly like what I mean when, like, this is what you guys. You're so talented in being able to pull that out of nothing, because I did nothing and you were able to like create such a beautiful image of it. But it's hard. Well, like, what you guys do is so unbelievably physically challenging, and I with a camera that is not light. You guys are not out there with like little GoPros. You're out there with like full cameras that are big as your head. And I just, like, I don't know how you guys do it. And I know, like, I've watched you guys do it. And you guys are always, like, just smiling, or like, "Oh, yeah, I know you catch the next one." Or, "No, kids, just go out there." Like, and I'm always, like, feeling so stressed out. And then I look at you guys like, oh, they're, like, I don't know how you guys do that. There needs to be more video. Like, I wish we could video. Or do you guys have any that we could, like, throw into there of, we should put that in there, too.
I don't know. I have so many stories. I don't think I have any video that could actually show. I mean, not this. I think people think it's actually harder than it is, or maybe, I don't know. I'm just like so happy when I'm in the water that whatever. But there's definitely story actually. Chance, like, I was shooting Roxy Kid with Tanae, and it was so much current. The wave was actually not that great. The current is so strong. I think I had like my ankle was like painful, but I was still swimming. The kids were like. Also, the kids didn't care where you are as a photographer. Right. They were just like, whatever.
You're like on the right, they go left. You're like, oh
yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, me, hi. Yeah, I do that too.
I remember Tanae like stepping on sea urchin, and I did have like a few, but her entire foot was like inflamed by like sea urchin, and she kept going, and it was just like, and at the end it's just like hilarious stories, you know, but Chance is like, I mean, I don't know about the session like you guys were in, but like we have similar session there, and it's just like always like
it can turn really bad so fast. It's just like a huge playing field, and it's not like a point or whatever. Like, I feel like it shifts around a bunch, and it's just like a lot of water moving if there's any kind of swell happening. So it's badass.
Oh, it's fun. It is.
It's floating though, like, just, you guys know. I don't know about you, Roxy. Actually, you probably have like a little bit like less air that I have in my housing, but it's floating. Like, you just have to like get ready when you have to get the shot. But you know, it's like a little booty, you know.
Yeah. So. The worst is when you have to dive. Like, I don't know how often you do like I just had to do a bunch of dives with my housing, and I had to like strap weight to it to get it to go. I had to have like little hand weights and like mount weights onto the camera. Just like
it's so tricky.
It down. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you find as a female in a male-dominated surf media industry? Or do you find it challenging? You're like, it's not.
I don't want to like name names or like, but speaking, like, I'm actually,
say it. Name him.
Because I don't. Okay, that's my kid.
No, it's Hi. I love it. She does it all. She's a mom. Look at her momming.
I know. Can we? There's no question about it, by the way. But it's something that Roxy is like really. I mean, I'm so impressed by the way she's running her life.
I know.
Inspiring.
No,
You're
it's
legend.
just,
You're
this is
amazing.
exactly, this is like what it adds to. Roxy's also a mother of two beautiful boys, which
She's a
we
rock
didn't
star.
get to mention earlier, but she's a mom, she's a wife, she's a photographer, she's a surfer. You do it all.
I do.
What else? What did I miss?
Happening. No, that's it. That's the.
No, but there's actually no question about that. But I would love to like touch on the subject because I mean, as a woman, actually, I mean, I don't have kids, I have a dog, but and I'm scared to have kids because I'm scared to not be able to live the life that I'm living. And I see Roxy, and every time I see her, I don't want to be annoying, but I always like try to ask a question. I'm like, and how's the day to day? Like, how do you do that? Like, I'm just like taking notes. And she's so inspiring. We went on a job together and nobody's waiting for me at home. She has 2 kids and a husband, and she still does it the same way with like the same involvement. And I'm so impressed. I don't know. It's really inspiring. Just so you know.
A lot of people say that. Like, a lot of people, I mean, that's another thing, like being in the surf industry or being in any industry, but like being a woman is hard. But when you're a mom, it's like a whole other level of like sacrifice that you have to make in order to be there and to do what you want to do. But I really do think, like, in terms of my career, obviously things are different. Things are harder. Like, I have to really manage my time well. I have to make a lot of sacrifices. Like, if it's sleep, if it's my social life, something has to give. And I will say though, like, having children has been so good for me. If we're talking just career wise, I feel like before I was like, yeah, this is fun and this is cool. But like now I'm like, I have to do this for them. Like, I have to provide for babies, and like I want to inspire them. Like, what I do, like a legacy that I leave behind for children feels such like more important work, and to like see them, because I'm raising them to be good men, right? Like, I am the biggest feminist, and if I want to raise good men, I want to set an example of like what a woman can be. Like, she's not just going to be at home, which is fine to do that, but like I don't want them to have any kind of like set notion of like what a woman should be doing. She can be doing anything and everything, and I want to lead by example. Knowing that that's what I'm doing in their eyes gives it's like I definitely feel like more purpose in what I do now. And I also feel like I'm a way better mom because I have a balance of both. Like, I feel like a lot of people experience burnout. Like, if you're just working 24/7, you reach burnout. And if you're just a mom staying at home with your kids, you reach burnout. But like, because I get to do what I do, like I can go to work, and then I can fill that cup, and then I can come home and fill that cup. And like, I get to go back and forth and have this balance of life that is actually I feel way more energized and like fulfilled because I have both ends, where I feel like a lot of women just have one before they make that step because they're nervous. But I think depending on, the village that you have and the family and the support, like I have a partner that supports me and like allows me to do these things. So it's different. But if you do have that, I definitely say it's worth it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll have a baby Lutton very soon. Because now you've inspired that you can do it all.
You can. And that's like the thing too. I just feel like women have been told since the beginning of time that like we're always told we're the weaker ones, like because we can't run as fast, because we can't lift things as heavy as men. But like our strength is in endurance and in like and like what we're able to do, and like being able to do both, you realize like what a sham it's all been. Like, we could have been doing this since forever. We've been put in this little corner that like these are the only things we're able to do, but really you can do it all so seamlessly.
I did an episode with Auburn Hilly. She's a 12-year-old.
She's so cute.
She's the sweetest, so sweet, just so eloquent, and and really respectful, and just stoked to be a surfer and being on Roxy. One of the questions that I had asked her, it was like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh no, not what you want to be when you grow up. What is, if you weren't a surfer, what would you like be interested in pursuing? And then I was just like, but that's a stupid question actually, because you can do anything and be a surfer. Like, you don't have to. There's so many, especially like being on Roxy. It's like Maluhia, who is a amazing surfer and also going to school to get her PhD. You don't it's not one or the other. You can actually, there is so much space if you make it to do all the things that you are passionate about, that you love. And if being a mom is one of those things, you can definitely figure out the way to incorporate that and still be yourself and do all the things that make you happy, this is just another thing that also makes you happy.
Yeah.
I love that we talked about that, because I feel like as women,
I know,
like,
me too.
that's always just that pressure of like, oh, when are you gonna have kids? Or are you gonna have kids? Do you want to have kids? Is it okay not to have kids?
It's funny because it doesn't make it's amazing to see that more women are like not leaving the tour because they have a baby. They just take a break and then they come back, or like, you know, but it doesn't make it easy for women, actually, you know. It's inspiring, and we've been able to see a lot of changes, I feel like, the past decade. But it doesn't make it easier, and it's also like not every woman is able to do it, even like mentally, or don't have the support system, as like Roxy was talking about, you know. So like just keep it. I mean, it's not because like we can see it more and more that it's like easier, but at least it's way more inspiring, and we can keep dreaming, and we can keep having like goals. And so
I think it's also inspiring for moms who want to pursue their dreams, you know, and feel like maybe they still can't. Like, just because, you know, you had a child or have children, that means that, you know, your dreams get pushed to the back burner. So many of my girlfriends who have, and Roxy, you too, like, who have children, and my sisters who have children, still continue their passions, and still, like, even after having children, finding what it is that makes them passionate and makes them still have their own identities. Like, and you're not just a mom, you're not just, you know, you're not just a surfer, you're not just a photographer, you're so many things, and it's so complex, and it's so beautiful, and it's still all within reach if that's, you know, if that's where you set your heart or set your goals to. Like, it's not one or the other.
It's so important to have representation, because where I'm from, actually, it's not really like the case. You don't have like models to look at, like people to look at. And when I moved to America, I just met like a bunch of women that were like just one generation up to me, that were like really inspiring to me, and having people even like Roxy talking about it. It's so important to have representation and being able to see yourself in that. Sorry, Roxy, this is what happened when you have like three, not you, Roxy, Roxy the brand
Roxy.
again. So, this is what happened when you have like
great.
three.
I love it.
3 meets 30 women on the podcast. This is what happened.
So I don't even know if we.
I didn't
this question.
I didn't even answer the question.
Do you? I mean, we'll do. I guess, like, do you guys feel like there is, you know, that there are challenges as a female in a male-dominated industry?
Okay, it's so I don't. Not a lot of people know that, but I do have a twin brother, and so I did grow up with half of me. For me, is a guy, and so. And all my brothers, I just have brother. I grew up with guys, and I never felt like a girl in the men thing. So I never really like felt the pressure of being a girl, wanted to like do stuff that only guys were doing, just because most of the time I was the only girl, and nobody really made me feel that way. I kind of like felt it way later on in my career. Actually, when I was going to other country or like shooting in the water, and like some guys were just, again, I'm not gonna drop names, but some guys like really made me feel like shit, you know, or like I was inferior, or they were like, oh yeah, just come in the water with us, or like just do that, and then like you get the shot, and they're just so bummed, and they're like, oh shit, she can actually do stuff, and that and I was like way old. I mean, there was like only a few years back, and I was sad, I was hungry, I was so I don't know. I was just like, what the hell? Like, I never felt that in my entire life. And on the top of it, personally, like, I'm not coming from anywhere like cool. And so I'm not local anywhere. So everywhere I go, even if I'm respectful of culture, the locals, like the people working there and stuff, I'm never local, you know. And most of the people in our industry, and especially when you have to travel, you're not really a local anywhere. And so that, with being a woman, it is challenging, and sometimes and also like I'm super sensitive. I'm just like an energy sponge. I'm taking everyone's, and so I have to also be strong, because you don't want to be the girl that cries in the corner. And honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong to cry, but yeah, it's really challenging, and some guys really make you feel like shit, and on the other side, some guys are like amazing and never made you feel like, you know,
let's name those
you don't have your
guys.
place.
Yeah.
Name those
I'm
guys.
I'm trying. I don't know. My friend Pat Nolan. Pat Nolan. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his work. He works a lot with WSL. I work with him like quite a bit with like on Roxy project, and he's a girls guy, and he's like amazing, and never makes you feel like you don't belong there. And I don't know. He's emotionally intelligent, you know, and he doesn't have a huge ego that some guys have for like no reason. And yeah, he's been doing amazing stuff, and so same for us, you know. And it's fine. And like I just cannot deal with people that have ego, like men or women, but especially guys in our industry. Sometimes like, fuck, I'm like, you guys, like it's painful. So and now we see way more women, so they gotta have to be okay with it, you know.
Yeah, that's so interesting to hear such a perspective of the competition on the other side of the lens. Because you're all out there trying to get the shot.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
Shout out to Pat Nolan for being a supportive, encouraging person out there that support. Like I love that, and I love I feel like Roxy is such an advocate for obviously women encouraging women, and and we can of course we can pull down and tear down as many people who don't have that same mentality, but I love that we can give that appreciation to those who do it. Pat Nolan, we love you.
I love it.
You got one, Roxy? Who you got?
The majority of guys I work with are really cool. One of my favorites is Mark McKennis. I work with him a lot. He's from like Oregon, and I feel like he's so emotionally aware of like women and the struggles that women deal with in the industry that he, like, anytime I work with him, he makes a point to like be satirical about it. He'll be like, hey, you can't actually go in that lineup. It's just, you're not strong enough. You're not that good of a swimmer. Women can't swim. Like he like exacerbates it, and it's like really funny, and he like is like, what? And like he's like he doesn't even let up. Like it's all a joke, but he's like just further proving like how dumb so many men can be about it. Like he's such an advocate for women, but like in a really funny, cool way.
Right. Because what he's really saying is you can do anything.
Right. Like you can do like all these dumb notions that men think.
Yes.
So ridiculous. To put it out like that. Like, so anyways, I really love working with him. He's my favorite.
But yeah. Did you ever have like any situation where you kind of like felt that you were a woman in like a men's industry, or you just like?
Yeah, I mean, I get it a lot, like in a lot of different, I feel like on the motion side, it's heavily men. One of the things is like with equipment, a lot of times I get mansplained a lot. Like a lot of guys on set like don't truly think I know what I'm doing. Like,
mansplaining. We could have a whole episode on just mansplaining.
So like a lot of times people, like, I'll build my rig or whatever it is, and a man will be like, oh, like you're going to use that lens, or like you should do this, or you should be doing that, or you should be routing this through that, or like was like, I never asked you, and like I've made the decision, I was hired, not you, so like maybe just back up and
do you say that?
Right?
No,
mind your business
on set. Like if I say the things that I want to say, half the time the older I get, the more I'm just like, I literally do
say it.
I'll
let her rip.
If you need to, I don't care about being painted like a bitch on set anymore. Where before I was like never confrontational, like always nice, like bending over backwards to meet everybody's needs. And now I'm just like, I don't have time to perpetuate these stupid notions that like I don't know what I'm doing, or that like you're the smartest person in the room. So I just I don't care anymore. But I definitely like there's like mansplaining on set about equipment and like gear, but I also get a lot of times, like I was gonna say before my child started crying, I'm going on a job next week, and I was on a call for him. We're like going over logistics for it, and it's at J-Bay. So not that people like go in the water at J-Bay and shoot or whatever, but we were like, I'm like, am I going to be in the water? Like, do you need me to bring housing? Or we're just like talking about logistics and stuff. And they were like, oh no, like you're not going to go in the water. Like you wouldn't be able to like the current is like too strong and whatever, all the stuff. And I was like, yeah, like I don't really want to go in the water, J-Bay shoe. I was written off immediately. Like I was just like, no, you can't do
assuming,
that. Like assuming, where I feel like, or even like I have another job coming up where they're trying to figure out logistics for me they don't want me shooting at Cloudbreak. Like they're nervous and they're like, we need to get like water safety and all these things. And I'm like, do you do this when like it's any other guy? Like it's
right.
Feel that like I'm this like delicate flower that needs to be like, I appreciate that you care about my well-being, but I just feel like I feel like this like it's like an eggshell. Then they're like, must keep her protected, and I'm like, I'm just as tough. In fact, I actually know that I'm tougher than most men. Like I have given birth, and not a single man.
I was about to say
the trump card.
I'm actually a lot tougher than most people that you know, but because I have,
and also like you know your own limits. Like if I can't do it, I'll tell you that I can't do it. I don't need you to assume that I can't or try to coddle me into making this decision. Like I'll tell you if I have no problems if I'm uncomfortable doing something. I'm saying no, I'm not doing that. No, it's too big for me. Or no, like like I can do that. Yeah, but I definitely don't need you to tell me, oh no, Tiara,
I'm a grown-ass woman. Like
right. That's only going to make me want to do it more. Just to prove to you.
And then in worst cases, like the worst, and this doesn't happen often, but it's happened a few times where I become like full mama bear is when I'm on set and there's men treating the models inappropriately and I have to intervene and become psychotic. And I actually wear that with a badge of honor. Like I get really aggressive and I call them out and I start like embarrassing them on set so that they feel deep shame. And
I can see you doing that. I've never had to experience that because we've always had like really
Roxy's never had once. They know.
We've never had really bad experiences like that, but I can imagine that you are exactly that way.
Wow,
it's just so important. But also crazy that that's even still a thing. Like, don't we know better by now that you just like.
I can't imagine no like reason. 15 years ago. It must have been.
Oh, I know.
Oh. So, yeah. Just a couple guys left like that we gotta embarrass, like publicly.
Right. Let them know. Put them in their place.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much it. Most guys are really cool, though. I don't have a problem with most guys.
Okay. Well, that's good. And we did shout out to two very special ones.
Mike and Pat.
We appreciate you. Yeah. All right. This is actually something I really, really feel is important that I feel you both do, obviously so naturally because you're females, but can you define the female gaze and explain why it's important in capturing that essence in surfing and ocean culture?
You go, Rox. I feel like you... No, but I feel it's like this is like you're so passionate about that, and I feel like
you are. I
love
all your TikTok rants about it because I stop and I watch it. And I'm like, Roxy, tell me.
Like the difference between male gaze versus female gaze.
Yes, explain that to those who who are unfamiliar with those terms and what it means.
I feel like if you're just breaking it down like super simply, male gaze is looking at it, and I also want to preface this. It's not so simple that like all men have male gaze and all women have female gaze. It's just this. My favorite cinematographer and director on the planet is a guy, and he like is the king of female gaze. So just want to make sure that that's known because I feel like a lot of guys
important.
Very upset about it, but I feel like male gaze is just looking at a woman and objectifying her, sexualizing her. Like that's what you're seeing is like the sexual component of her, and a female gaze is more capturing her humanity, like the essence of what makes her like a human being as opposed to an object. In like really simple terms, I feel like that's what it is.
I feel like then that it makes it easier to understand
right
what it is, so that you guys can like
things. Like for me, when I like my favorite kind of female gaze is like more playful and candid and like laughter and dancing and like all the things, but like for another woman for someone else that's not what their female gaze is, but it can be a lot of different things. It's just the humanity of that woman or that person, and male gaze is like solely focused on sexualizing a woman or a person.
Yeah, and I feel like also like as a woman, sometimes you want to capture like the woman as she is and show how you pursue her.
Yeah.
But men sometimes they just want her to look like something, or like, you know, so it's, for me it's like, yeah, we're different too.
Why do you feel like that's important to to capture, like as far as showcasing and sharing in the surf industry and ocean culture?
I mean, I feel like women were like portrayed in such a sexual way for like so long, especially in the surf industry, that I think it's our role to be part of how we are showing them now and for who they are, not just for the body or like the stereotype of like what they should look like, their athleticism, for who they are, like the poetry that they, you know, like send you, just the way they serve, the way they move, the way they make you feel, you know, but not in a sexual way. As like, I feel like, I mean, back in the day when I was first starting in the surf industry, I mean, it was just like, I mean, yeah, it was just like a bunch of butts that people were showing. And like, still, it's funny. I live in Orange County, and like, I drive in front of the glass shop every day, and there's still this like awful picture of Alana, and it's just like a picture of her butt, and like, and I'm just like, how in 2024, after everything that happened, especially, how is it even still something that guys want to like, just like, yeah, that's a chick on a surfboard? Like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's, I'm like, it's funny because when I started to shoot campaigns for Roxy and meeting all the athletes, and they were like, oh my God, like all the campaigns were actually shot by male, and they were like doing an amazing job as well. But I do think it was refreshing for them and for the industry, just to like see women, like, I mean, just the story are like told differently, and like the visual look different, and the cropping is different, and you know, so I think that's something that actually I'm really passionate about. And same in the media, like when I was running the Here With magazine, I was just curating imagery that made me feel as a woman something, and sometimes it was still a little sexy or something, but not in a like sexual way that was degraded, you know, like that was not like positive for women. It was just in a poetic way. That's what I'm gonna use. Yeah, no, I think the all the visuals and the way we're showing women in the surf industry especially like change a lot, and for the better, you know. It was kind of time. I don't know if you want to add anything, Roxy, but
yeah, no, I mean, I second everything you said. Like, I remember growing up and seeing like all surf movies with girls. It was like a duck dive shot and like a bottom turn. Like, that was
always
like,
the zoom in on the duck dive is insane to me.
Yeah, it's like
and it still happens.
I know. Like, so it's hard to. I think it's important, not just because like I don't want women being objectified when they have such raw, incredible talent, but also I think the problem is that, and this is like this has happened recently too. Like, when you tell a woman like that this is all she's good for, or like that this is all she can, this is as far as she can go. Like, that's as far as she's gonna go. Like, when that's all like little girls see growing up, like that's it. Like, that's the limit. And so when you push it and you expand on it, like when we allowed women to start surfing pipe, they were like, oh, they can't, or like they can't go out to Teopo, like they can't surf pipe, they can't do these things. Like, the limit was set, and that was like all women aspired. They're like, okay, anything up to that point, and then once you break that barrier, you have the Vahines, and you have Moana, and you have these people like blowing expectations out of the water. And like, had you had those women in front of lenses back in the day and had movies and parts and segments and showing that, like, more women would grow up aspiring to be doing that. Whereas before, all we were aspiring to be was like butt models and like, the occasional duck dive and paddle around in pretty islands. Like, that was it. So it's super important to show all women growing up that there is no limit. Do not put a limit on us.
Yeah.
Right. And you're not going to be put into this box of sexy bikini model, because and especially those girls who are like just raw, talented athletes, to be lessened by being objectified. And also, like, not to take away the power of them feeling like, if you're feeling that and want to, present yourself, or you're feeling like it, that's in your own power, and that's in your own right to absolutely do. You can tell though the difference in a female gaze though and a male gaze, and like, I don't know how to say it without like putting down any male photographers or like.
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna
there
be
is just like
TT.
there's
Say
just like
it.
a
Give it
level
to
of
us.
trashiness, you know, like that. I feel like I've always been so, you know, I'm a teacher as well,
Right.
as being a surfer, and having being my photo taken in a bikini to be put online or to be put on, you know, on social media has always been really tricky for me specifically. And I'm obviously just talking about my own situation. Never, though, have I ever felt in a point working with either of you or anybody on the team for Roxy, for that matter, did I feel ashamed or embarrassed or that it was too much or that it was too sexy or that it, you know, or that would put me in a place where if I saw it online, being a teacher as well, you know, I'm also like, it's hard being a role model for young women who are also like exposed to social media and feeling like this immediate needing to compare or needing to compete, but also like being a teacher in a classroom, you know. It's I've never it's so different these times now, where I know when I was in 5th grade, I didn't see my teachers, you know, in a bikini
So
online.
true.
Like, you didn't see photos of that.
Right.
But you guys do it in such this like tasteful way that I've always been proud of. You know, I've always been proud of every time I've ever shot with you guys, and never felt worried about what people might think or what I might think of myself having it out there, because it never even crossed my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, like I can do it all. I can do all these things. I don't have to feel, you know, worried about one or the other, because I know that I'm in a safe place where these women are going to do, you know, the best job to make this image something that we can all be proud of. You know, that you guys, a photo that you took, a photo that I'm in, a photo that's going to be out there, a photo that, you know, Roxy, the company, is going to be proud to put out. You know, it's like we're all like work so well together to make sure that that is always like the not the goal, what's the word,
The standard?
the standard. Yes, that is the standard.
The friendship with the world.
That is the standard. Like that literally, it's always been something so very, very, very beautiful and very like safe, and something that I've always been so proud of being a part of it. You guys are so good at that. And you can just tell. Like, I mean, obviously, like, not just being female, but being, you know, the way that you guys are, the way that you guys carry yourselves, the way that you guys, the way that you guys work together and work with all the athletes. It's so important, and it's so important for especially the younger generation who is coming up with a time where social media is just so, it's accessible to them, and they all start kind of really early copying, you know, things that they see online. And if you change what they're seeing online from these like sexy poses where they're, you know, all these, instead of what actually is beautiful is just like being really yourself, being really comfortable, not having to be in these like over sexualized, objectified positions. You know, it's so like it's just so important that that's, you know, showing this younger generation of the beauty standards now, you know, because it's just so scary, like how I see, like, I've got nieces, being a teacher and being around young girls, and I see all of the things that they see, and I just can't imagine what at that age, you know, feeling like, you know, the number of followers that you have is like literally having your value, feeling like that's your value, you know,
you're like
how many
matrix, like
likes you have, you know, like I need to do that so that I can be just like this person, and just comparing yourself and then trying to imitate. And when they're not ready, you know, and they're not like physically and emotionally and just not ready to understand what it means to put yourself out there, because once it's out there online, it's there forever.
Yeah.
So changing the beauty standards and changing the way that not only you are taking photos, but the way that you are photographed, you know, with these girls who want to be models, or these girls who want to be athletes, or these girls who want to be photographers, you know, can look to you women and have your images like, oh, I want to shoot just like this. You know, I want to capture this, like just like authentic beauty.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, Roxy always had, like, I've been doing that, you know, like, I mean, part of the slogan is like supporting women since like 1990. And it's true, the way they portray women, which woman they like choose to show. And I think it's like they always put it in highlight real women. And that's why I'm really, really proud to like being able to tell the story and capture those women, those athletes. And like, even when we work with models, they are also like more than just a body that we're putting a bikini on, you know. And that's one of the things that I really, really respect Roxy the brand for. And it's showing different type of people. And yeah, I mean, if I was a little like a girl growing up now, I wish I had all those people to compare myself to, because I would probably feel like I could see myself and not just like, you know, a pretty picture of like a hot chick somewhere, you know? So yeah, that's part of the reason why I really love working and partnering with Roxy. So
Same. I mean, I feel like we touched on this too, but I feel like maybe I want to hear a little bit more about what your perspective on it. Or did we say this already? I guess in what ways do you think diverse perspectives can help redefine beauty standards in surf media?
Showcasing more women that are really powerful, good surfers that come in all shapes and sizes. It's just, I feel like it opens a lot of gateways for people that maybe felt like self-conscious or didn't want to get into that industry because they didn't look like that. Like they actually realize that what I have, like my body type is actually an asset. Like this is going to make me a stronger surfer. Like I'm going to be able to do a lot more, where before it was just, they felt like it was only for little people kind of thing.
Yeah. I love how Roxy, especially doing the on the beach campaigns, have since I've done them, have always been the most diverse group of girls.
Yeah.
You know, not only in body shape and size, but age and skill level, you know, and you know, we have a mother and a daughter that are in these campaigns. Like it was so important to share that, you know, because in every single one of us, there was someone who could relate to, you know, someone like Auntie Megs, who's just a powerhouse, you know, and is so strong and is so comfortable in her toughness and in her like in just, you know, her masculinity, and then you have someone like Mons, who's just so soft and bubbly and goofy and a mother also, and then you have Killy's. Like there's just so much in with all of us, you know, me being a beginner, Kalia being, you know, a mother of two, and also just being a surf just anomaly. It was so important and special to be a part of to be a part of those campaigns that celebrated so much diversity, and not just in what we looked like.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
totally. I don't know, like they're, of all the brands, of all the surf brands, I feel like they have constantly and consistently represented like the widest range of women that you could. It's always been fun. I love being a part of it all.
I know, and then you guys, and then of course, like you guys do such a good job
it's very
bringing that to actual, you know, to tangible life, so that you can see it. Okay, let's see. What advice would you give to young aspiring females who would love to follow in the footsteps of film and photography in the surf industry?
I feel like you should. This is your like domain. You're like the.
Oh my god!
Yes. Brought to you by Warm Collective.
Yeah, I'm
there
like,
you go.
Teach me.
Just work hard. No. I mean, just stay focused. Like, stay inspired. Like, be passionate. don't forget that you can do it all. Never stop believing in yourself. I know it's way too many, but it's in you, and you just have to like give yourself the space to explore creativity. Just trust that you can do it. I know a lot of people hate this saying, but like fake it till you make it, and just
we don't. Me and Roxy, we love that saying. I definitely have faked it until I made it.
On my gravestone.
Yeah, but for real though, for real.
Mm-hmm. I think that like that. I mean, that saying basically is a really kind of just a really fun way of saying believe in yourself, because if you believe in yourself, everyone else will.
Yeah.
And so you don't know how to do it, just try, find, like, Google it, like, look on YouTube, like, you'll figure it out,
Yes.
You don't have to be, like, hot. I mean, you cannot be, like, there already. You have to be there first, so you have to, like, make mistake and try again. Right. And it's part of the process. I think and also don't let yourself be too distracted by what others are doing. Don't compare yourself too much. Yes. Even me, I keep like looking at other people on Instagram, and not just for work, for life in general. And this is so painful and for nothing, because at the end of the day, we're just wasting time and, energy that we could put in like stuff that we're passionate and, so yeah. And I mean,
but that's important. It's so important and so relatable to know that even as grown ass women, we still do that. You can't. It's so hard, but at least we're aware now and try to help ourselves and better ourselves by like knowing that, okay, stop doing that, don't do that,
or if you do, turn it into something positive, like learn something from it,
right.
Yeah,
that's good.
I also am such a big believer. I feel like one of the reasons like I delayed getting into the industry and like doing the things that I wanted to do, even though I had passion for it, was because I was really overwhelmed with gear. Like I felt like I didn't have this camera, I didn't have this lens, or I didn't have the money for that lens, or whatever it was. And someone once told me, like, you never go into a restaurant and have an amazing meal and go in the back to the chef and ask him like what stove he cooked it on. Like that's not what you're asking him. And it's the same for this industry. Like it doesn't matter what you're shooting on. Like if the creativity is there, that's all that matters. Like that's all that matters. So whether you're shooting on like a little Costco kit lens, whatever you can find, or you're borrowing friends, or I mean, you can even shoot sick stuff on iPhones, but if you have a really cool concept, like that's all that matters. Like that can blow up and that can change your life. So
I mean, I remember like the gear that I was using when I was starting, and I was like getting jobs, and I'm like, now I'm just, I remember I was like laughing at myself. Like I had this like plasticky, I have no idea even the brand, plasticky thing with this shitty camera, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going in the water, I'm gonna shoot some stuff, and I was paid for that, and I'm like, how did someone ever like trusted me? Like I'm like, no. But
because you believed in yourself.
And I just had a vision. I wanted to do something. I was like, I see it with my eyes, I can like capture it with whatever camera, whatever like thing. I'm like, and it is what it is, I mean, you can do amazing stuff with like a disposable camera, and it's fine. So don't get limited by like the gear. That's for sure. Like don't wait to have more money, or like don't wait because it's on time or anything. Like if you feel like it's in you. I remember actually I was like, I had like this like summer job just selling sandwiches, and I was so like itching like the entire day for like my day off, that I was just like, this is in me. This is what I want to be doing, So just keep exploring and do stuff like,
Yeah. Amen. Love that. Can you share an example of a moment or image where you felt the female gaze made a significant difference in the storytelling?
I mean, like, for instance, I feel like the impact of the movie Barbie, like things like that, like there's you have a woman director and it's produced by a woman, but I feel like that's not like on the surf side of it, like in the surf.
I don't think it matters.
I mean, I don't know there's that, like the Barbie movie. I feel like people have opinions on it, but because it was shot by a woman, like, and directed by a woman and produced by a woman, there was depth to it that a lot of people, like my husband, saw the Barbie movie. Not that he's like not a feminist or anything, but he's not like an emotional. He cried. Like no one had ever presented that movie or like these ideas in his head. Like he never saw it from a woman's perspective. Like he never saw it like, oh, this is what it's been like for you. Like, this is,
Mm-hmm.
was really impactful. Like, I thought it was a great movie, but like seeing other men see it and the impact that it had on them, that they were like, oh, like I didn't get it before, but now I get it. So I feel like a lot of women don't need to know that we're more than our bodies. I think a lot of men need to know that. So anytime that we see campaigns where it's not just like ass shots and boobs, sorry, butt shots and boobs and bottom turns, like I think it's really important that, you know, Roxy shows vagina like deep in a barrel at Tiopo, because men didn't think that we could be there. Women.
And now she's at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you guys, right before this call, I was watching the Olympics. I think that actually the women are like
on right now
soon or something. It was on like early on. There was one heat I was able to watch right before. Yeah, you guys.
Oh, we gotta go.
I know.
I need to watch that. Okay.
Talking about a historical moment, though, I kind of had I don't know, I think you guys call that a aha moment or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the Eddie. There was like, what year is it? Is it 2024 right now? So last year then. And I was like watching the Eddie, and it was the first time that the women were actually competing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was running on the beach. I was like following one of the athletes, and I stopped like in the middle of the beach, and I turned around, and there was like a woman journalist like asking questions. I looked up. There was like this woman like filming the entire event. And I looked over there, and I saw another woman with a helmet running to go shoot in the water. And I was just like, oh my God, it's like women everywhere. And I was like, it's the 80s. And I'm just like, I'm on the North Shore. I'm at Waimea. And I just like had to sit, and I was so emotional. I was like, dude, we made it, like in the way that the industry changed, and no one was re-questioning those people working there, you know? And it was full of women in the mix with men too. Oh yeah, I remember there was also like this girl I would remember forever. She was shadowing a man filming, and he was like kind of like mentoring her or teaching her, and it was in such a beautiful way. And it was just, it looked normal, you know, it didn't look like, oh no, you know?
Right.
And it was, I sat down, and I was like really emotional. And I was with like the marketing manager from another brand that's also a woman, and I had to like explain to her, because for her, like as a marketing manager, it was a little different, but like as a creative or like someone that's doing the job that we're doing, this was not the normal, like, you know? And anyway, it was just, I would remember forever. And
that's cool.
It was magical.
You're like witnessing history in the making, and that one day, like, you know, we're in that generation where we know that is not the norm. And realizing or having like an epiphany or an aha moment that eventually it is going to be the norm. And you know, the girls that are growing up today, like they're going to see these girls surfing the Eddy and surfing at Pipe and be like, oh yeah, like that's their norm,
right?
Which is amazing. Which is so like, that's so amazing. I'm so like happy that's all in motion, and that we are witnessing it and seeing, you know, from then to now, that you know, that's where it's going, and it's going to be. I'm so excited for the girls that are going to be inspired by Moana and Vahine, and you know, all of those girls that are going to come from this generation, from these generation of heroes that they're getting.
Yes,
it's so exciting,
and
that's so cool that you like. That's so cool that you like recognize that, you know, like this is crazy that this is happening, because 2 years ago,
insane,
5 years ago, 10 years ago, this was not happening.
Yeah,
I know.
Even I think it's so cool, like how often I'm now on all female crews. Like it's like
yes,
a common thing, and I love it. I'm like, and then when there's like the times where I'm not, and I'm like, dang it,
I miss it. It's crazy. It's such a dynamic shift too.
It is.
And like
energy is so good.
It's just so good, and like it's such a crazy like bond, because you are so aware that, oh my God, it's all girls. The producer's a girl, the director's a girl, the photographer's a girl, the videographer's a girl, all the athletes are girls. You know, it's like, it's so empowering and it's so encouraging, and we're all just like learning and bettering each other and helping each other. Like it's always been just the best environments. When
That's
it's
my favorite part about it. I feel like when it's like all girls, I find obviously there's outlier cases, but generally speaking, everyone is like so eager to help everyone, like
Yes.
help you in this department and do all that. And,
right.
And so anytime that I'm like not on a set that's dominated by women, I'm always like, oh, like we're all on our own here. Like this is,
oh yeah.
Like I forget that that's like everyone's kind of just like in their own lane, which
Mm-hmm.
isn't bad. It's, you know, you're just doing your job, but
right.
And we just like love to take care of one another. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And it's like enjoyable. Like that's just who we are in
we're
nature.
just so communal. Like it's like our
right.
nature. Like we just love each other and we want to all be in it together and like move to the next together. I don't know. I love it. I love
yes.
it.
That's why the phrase is every man for themselves and not every
right.
Because
we
don't do that. I don't want to do anything by myself.
I'm bathroom by myself.
I don't. Come with me. Let's be best friends. Okay. Are there any of the questions I feel like I want to make sure that you guys, you know, are portrayed the way that you obviously like the way that you want and then say everything that you want to put out there? Is there any like questions specifically besides the one we just did, which was great? I'm so glad that you pointed that one out. But I feel like a lot of the questions like we kind of covered just like through conversation.
Even like right at the beginning, we were already like getting into
exactly.
like, some of the bigger topics.
What advice? So
is there any other subject, Roxy, that you want to talk about? Or?
For the record, I don't hate men. I feel like
I know.
I feel like I need to put out.
We love men, just so you know, just so we put it out there. We're not man hating on this show.
We're not man.
I was about to like bring up like a memory of like a Roxy shoot. There was a Cynthia Rowley shoot that we did in Waikiki. One part was in Mammoth Mountain and the other part was in Waikiki, and we're here like with Cynthia and Cynthia that works like obviously mostly like in New York and like way different type of sets, and like this set is run by a woman producer and everyone is, I mean, it's just like women and the only men are like the assistants and like carrying the baking keys and stuff. And I was just like, should I bring it up? Because I'm like, well, I don't want to like sound like just the guys are just, you know, like following us and, you know, but that was actually pretty special. And like the producer like stopped and she was like, well, things have changed. And she's been working with Roxy for like maybe like 15 years and she was just like, oh, back in the day that was not like that. So anyway, it's just funny things to like, you know, remember and realize. So
yeah. Okay, so this question is more for me because I want to know. Well, I have two questions. One, is there a favorite photo? And this might be hard, but is there a favorite photo that you've ever taken that you think back on there's no replicating it, there's no I can't do it again, but it's like this one photo that you remember changed everything or made you feel like this is it, this is what I want to do?
I do have one.
Let's hear it. Which
is funny because I'm not a big fan of my work. I mean, I'm not, you know, but there's this photo actually of Maine and Malu Kinamaka that I shot on the outrigger with them, and I was like I was like sitting there and they were like steering. I don't even so bad. and they were like surfing the wave with the outrigger, and the water is sparkling everywhere. And actually, we don't see on the photo, but like I have the full series, but Titus Kinamaka is also in the back steering, and this image is like so timeless, so iconic. Yes. And
I know exactly what you're talking about. Those images are so stunning of the entire family.
And it's just like this trip and this Roxy campaign. It was a hardcore, like I think it was 2 or 3 days. And it was my first time in Kauai, and just like discovering Kauai with the Kinamaka's family. And was just like such an honor. And I was also trying some of my new cameras, and I was just like trusting there was so much energy that I cannot even compare this shoot with anything else. And the images we got from this trip were like so, I don't know, so meaningful, way more than, you know, I mean, sometimes you have jobs that there's no story, and this was just like, I just felt like I was capturing like a historical moment. And this photo, just seeing like Maine and Malu like laughing, smiling with the water, and like it's just like this moment in time that was just frozen. I don't know. It's really like a photo that really means a lot for me.
I mean, I know exactly which photo you're talking about because I remember that campaign, and it was stunning. Like, I mean, the Kinimakas are beautiful. Like that whole, you can't do no wrong. Like there's the most. They're so iconic. They're so epic. Like, just like there's such a presence. And Titus,
but nothing was forced. Yeah, nothing was forced. Everything just happened. And my Nate told me that Titus actually doesn't let a lot of people take picture of him too. So I felt like really honored now, how like special. These days. So I don't know, like I feel like I shot it with like deep respect, and I'm just proud that I was able to like show and capture this like a real moment. And this is like one fraction of a second of like a moment. I mean, Roxy, right. You're like just capturing like motion, but like I was just like so happy to show what really happened, and I don't know, it was like really special.
That is really special. So, that's cool that you know. I mean, I guess you've been thinking about it.
But that's one. I mean, do you imagine? No, actually, what did you say?
That you know what your favorite photo is?
Like that's a really powerful.
Yeah,
and that you know about
but
it.
You don't have
remembered it.
Yeah. No, I mean that whole campaign was unreal.
Yeah.
But without this campaign,
but
I would not have any other exact photos. I would not have any other images to like tell you. I would be like, no, I don't know.
How about you, Roxy? Do you have a favorite?
That's really hard. I was like trying to think about it just now. I think like I know for sure. I know the first roll of film I ever got back, because I started shooting digital, and then I think in like 2018, I've always been drawn to analog. Like I just feel like I always knew that I wanted to shoot an analog, but it like really scared me and made me nervous. And I shot around with like 8mm. But the first time I ever got a roll back, that was 16mm film. I remember the shoot. It was just like I purposely did it to be a shoot that was like, we were just messing around. So in case it was like spec work basically. So in case it didn't work out, I'm not going to get like fired. But I remember getting it back and it like having a very profound effect on me it's not like the shots were the most insane thing, but I remember thinking the way that I went about that shoot, the way that I had to be so meticulous and organized and really think about every shot, like the way that I worked on that set, the way that the anticipation, like waiting to get it back, not knowing, and like putting in everything I could to every shot and being very frugal with my shots, not just like shooting flipping endlessly. Like and obviously when it came back to, and the way that it captured women to me, like it's almost like how I envision women in my head. Like I don't see all the detail, right? Like when you think about your friends, you think about a memory, like it's kind of a little hazy. It's like a little fuzzy, a little soft, but it's always beautiful. Like it's always nostalgic. It always feels good. And I felt like film encapsulated that. It encapsulated the female gaze that I wanted to. And then the way that I got to shoot in it, being patient and taking my time and not being wasteful. Like I have like strong opinions about that too. Just being wasteful on this earth and with capitalism and all the things we're doing. It just felt really true to my soul, I guess.
And intentional.
Yeah, really intentional.
That's beautiful.
That was like a big change for me, a big shift.
Okay, my last question is, obviously you two have traveled the world and have seen the most beautiful places and surf spots. If you could go to, I guess I want to say like which one obviously is your favorite, but the one that you recommend that you have to go if someone hasn't been there, or that you would love to go again, where is that place?
Tahiti.
I know. I was like,
unanimously Tahiti. Wow.
But just so raw. So
that place is insane. It doesn't
really.
It's just so raw, and the energy, and it's just like so magnificent, and it's breathtaking, and it's nothing compares. I think and not the Tahiti, like the blue water and white sand from the picture, not just this part, but like the part that's like the raw dark green and black sand, and it's like Jurassic Park over there. Like sometimes,
really?
Yeah, it's like the Finiwaire and Teahupu and all this area. You feel so small. And the energy in the water is not the same either. Like, Tahiti is Hawaii is something like in terms of energy in the water, but like Tahiti is something else too. And yeah, for me, there's nothing that really compares. So
I agree wholeheartedly.
Damn.
It is insane. Like you come back and I feel like you come off like drugs. Like you're just like everything.
You're just downing.
Yeah, like you're just downing.
Everything sucks.
Like this is actually, don't go. Life will be beautiful after, but it really is something else. I think about it all the time. Like I'm always trying to. I'm like, oh, I could go. Like I got a couple weeks here where I'm not doing anything, or like we could probably.
It's so easy for you too. I mean, both
like
of you,
5.5 hour
from
flight.
Hawaii.
I've never been there, so now, and it's always been like on my bucket list to go, but for you both to say immediately without question Tahiti, that's gonna. I have to now.
And I feel like it covers like when I travel or like I want to see the world, I'm not, and this is specific to me, I'm sure other people feel very strongly on the opposite end, but I don't travel to like see architecture and like things that are man-made. Like I want to see like the earth. I want to see the raw, natural, the earth. Like that's what I want to see, and the experiences that the earth can provide for me. Nothing else really. That's why I don't really ever go to Europe or anything. Like I don't really want to go. Like I just want to go, like, or like the Ments or something, or like Southeast Asia, where like it's just untouched by the Western world as much as you can be. I guess I just love the rawness of it all. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Tahiti it is then.
Book your ticket now.
I was doing so expensive though with the Olympics just going on.
Is it? Oh yeah. I'll wait until after the Olympics.
But even after, I feel like everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, Tahiti."
Oh, I mean, yeah, it definitely like puts it on the map. But people who had no idea,
which is a lot.
They know now.
Yeah. So, bummer.
All right. Well, thank you guys both so much for making time to have this conversation and to share all of that, and that, and inspire this young generation of videographers and photographers who want to follow in your footsteps. And if you don't already, follow these two on Instagram, because these two have probably one of my favorite, in both of them have my favorite accounts that I follow, because that's what I want to see. When I open my Instagram, that's what I want to see is there. So follow Roxy Facer, follow Serena Lutton. That's your Instagram handle, right? At Serena Lutton?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And then at Rox Face, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Woo. Well, thank you for having us.
Yes, of course. Thank you guys so much.
Love you.
Talk to you soon. And this is, what's the name of the show again?
At the Heart of It.
At the Heart of It.
At the Heart of It. Thank you. I have one job. Know the name of this show, and I can't do it.
This is TT show.
This is TT, and you're watching At the Heart of It. Me. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.